Hey there, welcome to Mike's Workbench, Tech Edition. Less is more and the power of 5. So right now you are saying to yourself, or some of you are, Mike, what the heck are you doing? You're in your workshop where you blacksmith, you make knives, you got your grinder over here, you got dunk tanks, you got belts. What the heck are you doing with tech? Well, last night I was working on a project that reminded me later, as I thought about it, of internet portals in Microsoft Viva. So this was the project. I was taking just to kind of set the stage, taking a railway spike and starting to make a C-axe, which is a old Saxon / Viking style knife. You know, so I'm in the beginnings of it. And right now it looks kind of cool, but let me tell you something. It's not a good project. And here's why. Less is more. And this applies to Portal. Doing my knife, I overextended, I hammered out, I went for too much length. I should have kept it smaller, right? More focused. And when I was grinding, I tried to do too much. I wanted to get out all these little hammer marks and stuff, but because I'd went too far, I then ended up with too little metal. So the results, although I spent more time working, I did more, it was actually less because now this knife is, I'll finish it, but it's not a serviceable blade. And the same applies when you're doing Viva and working with your Microsoft Modern Framework site. Less can be more. So the reason why I thought about this is I've been talking to a lot of customers and I hear over and over and over how they have all these requirements of stuff they want to shove in there. They want people to do their own mixing and matching. Bad idea. I'll talk about that in a bit. They want to have 10 million links and stuff because they've always had links for everybody and everything, and their page look like a bunch of links. The 90s is calling for your links and wants them back. But they try to do too much on a home page and end up with something that in the end, to be blunt, nobody cares about. And I'm pretty blunt when I talk to customers that, you know, the things they've been doing oftentimes are the case with that. So the beauty with Microsoft Viva is you can bring modern next generation intranet to the users in Microsoft Teams, but you're still challenged with making that site something that users will find value in, that they'll access and want to use. And that's where less is more and the power of 5, or the rule of 5, comes into play. When you're doing things, pare it down and stick starting. You know, people always ask me, well, how do we get started? We got so much to do. This is not rocket science, folks. Keep it simple. You can iterate slowly as you go, but stick to the power of 5, or the rule of 5, as you are starting. So number 1, links. People love to put links. We got a section here of links for this group. We got a section of links for this, a section of links all on the home page. Cut that out. You have the power of the mega menu. Turn it on. Get that hidden and up at the top. You can do some base top level classifications, then put the links. And by the way, you can audience profile and target links. So not everybody has to get all the same links. That is powerful. That enables you to deliver all the links for different groups that you might want to have all in that one area. Again, neatly tucked away. People can access it. It's there. When you roll it into Viva, it still shows up, right? So it's going to be there for your users. So leverage, for the first thing, the menu. The 90s are calling a page of links, but the mega menu is next gen with audience profiling. So leverage that. Number 2, news. So today, you know, I have a lot of customers, again, that are like, well, isn't the new news and all that stuff coming out, right? This feed and yes, it is. And the feed is going to rock. It's going to have all kinds of goodies there. You can audience profile. you can include not just news or links to external news, but you can also include conversations, all kinds of goodies, and have that serve up mobile and desktop. But you don't have to wait. There is a news part today that you get with communication sites out of the box. And it allows you to do, number one, roll-ups across various other modern framework sites. Number two, you can also audience profile target people. Again, so get people content that's compelling, that's pertinent to them and their org, and serve it on up in the news today. When the feed comes out, sure, update it, move, but iterate, right? There's no reason to hold back until the feed's out. Start today with the news, start getting used to audience profiling and that kind of an exercise today. That's two. Number three, events. So we got links, news, and events. They're actually the three primary. We'll get into the other two in just a sec. But events, you have web parts for events. Again, with communication sites, you get those out of the box that you can leverage. Take a look at the ones that are group enabled. I mean, that's an Exchange calendar enabled piece already. You can push events out. People can quickly add to their calendar with a click. It's a beautiful thing to be able to take those top level corporate events and push all that out and include that, right? That's table stakes. So that's number three. Number four, the personalization. So typically you might put this on the right-hand side. That's what we do on our corporate intranet. But there's a web part that you can grab in SharePoint Modern Framework that lets people see their stuff, right? What's happening, meetings that are coming up, documents that are related to them. It all leverages the power of the graph behind the scenes to deliver personalized content and important things bubbled up to them right on that homepage. So again, something that's compelling and that's meaningful to the individual, drop it in, personalize. You don't need to have people, I've heard this a couple times, we want users to go in and add the things and components that they want on their page and blah, blah, blah. I will tell you that when you do that, most people are gonna go either do nothing or create a mess. And in either case, the page becomes unusable and they're gonna ignore it. They're not gonna spend time on it. You provide content that's compelling. There are plenty of other places in SharePoint Modern Framework Online where you can have people do their own thing in their groups, in teams, etc. They already have the ability to do so much of that where they're working and doing things. Let that be there. Your homepage should be clean, it should be inviting, it should be modern, it should be simple, but provide that one personalized piece and that's gonna be there. And then the last thing is applications. Now I know that the dashboard is not out yet. It'll be shortly. Developers are getting access to it very soon. If you haven't seen my post on getting your space, a developer space where you can go ahead and start getting your hands dirty on this stuff, your feet wet, do it. Get out there and start using it. But applications. So today you cannot put a dashboard with profiled applications to people. I got that. It's coming. That will be there. So that's going to be number 5. But in the interim, you can provide links to applications. You can also, with the app launcher in the upper left, you can customize that with tiles to other web-based apps. You just need a hyperlink, you need a graphic, and you can do that and provide that for people as well. So, feel free to do some of that customization or even a placeholder web part that you could put on that page with some links to top level apps and maybe a little verbiage under it saying coming soon, the dashboard. So keep it simple, right? Start simple with the rule of 5. You can iterate and add, but that, we have a little more now. We have stocks on ours and a couple of other things. But start with the rule of 5 and then be very proactive and thoughtful. Don't just dump stuff. If you make a busy page, you've lost the game. Be proactive, be thoughtful around it, get that content in there using the rule of 5, navigation, news, events, I can get my fingers up, news, events, personalization, and then applications, right? So that's what you'll start with. Then if you want to start adding video on, maybe it's not video all the time, but it's an occasional announcement from CEO, etc. But think about, again, if you're doing events and you're doing live events or webinars with teams, things like that, those are invites. And then you can have that archive piece, maybe do it in a news story, right? It doesn't have to be its own thing on the homepage. Those can go into stories, they can go into events for invitations. But keep your page simple. Be very thoughtful about things you add beyond the rule of 5, and you can get going today. This doesn't take rocket science to get moving. I want to encourage people to do that, to be thoughtful, to move forward, right? We don't have to boil the whole ocean. We don't have to have the whole intranet converted yet into modern framework from classic. We don't have to have everything migrated from on-premise. But we want to be thoughtful about that homepage, about Viva, about what we present to the users front and center. Make it thoughtful, make it simple, use the rule of 5, and you'll be all right. With that, this is Mike's workbench, where we are forging, in this case, something not so good, too thin. But we learn from our mistakes. You had an old intranet, you've learned, right? There are lessons learned. Take them to heart. Don't be that hamster on a wheel running forward and making the same mistakes. Keep it simple. Rule of 5. With that, take care, have a great day, and as always, ciao.